Alright guys, tonight we're going to make Olive Garden chicken and gnocchi soup. So first you're going to go to your pressure cooker and you're going to push the saute button. And sometimes it tells you to wait until it warms up, but I don't have patience, so we're just going to continue on here. So next we're going to add into our Instant Pot. It's beeping that it's like on. It takes a couple seconds. Alright, so we're going to add into our Instant Pot. Oops, I just chucked it here. These are frozen chicken tenderloins. You can use chicken breast. You can use fresh or frozen, okay? I just buy it in bulk in the frozen. I don't like a lot of meat in mine, so we're going to call this good. You can add more, you can add less, whatever. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here. I'll usually sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on it and cook it, and I will show you what we're doing here on the saute. So go ahead and put this in, a little bit of olive oil, and just let it go for a little bit. It'll start sizzling, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so you'll hear it sizzling in there, and see it sizzling. I just sprinkle olive oil on it, and then you take this flat spatula. Wooden spatula is like your best friend for the Instant Pot, so if you don't have one, go get one right now. It's like $3 at Walmart. So it's what you're going to need to deglaze the pot, which is when we scrape off the stuck bits when we're sauteing, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to flip these every once in a while and kind of scrape up a little bit of stuck-on stuff there as we go. So just go ahead and flip these with the spatula. It's hard to do one-handed, but yeah. So we flip them. See how quickly... Oh, it's all steamy now. There we go. Okay, see how quickly they kind of start to get semi-cooked. Now, if you're doing this from fresh, it won't take you obviously near as long as from frozen, and we don't have to worry about cooking it all the way through. I'll show you in a little bit. So go ahead and just keep flipping it once in a while, and I'll show you when we get to the next step what we're going to do. We're going to cut it into little pieces. Okay, when your chicken's getting pretty white on the outside there, and scoop it out one at a time. And I'm just going to cut it into bite-sized chunks. It's still going to be raw on the inside. It's okay. We're just going to cut it up into bite-sized chunks here. However big or little that you want them. The smaller that your chicken breast is, the quicker it's going to cook in here. So this is only a couple minutes time here. So I'll dump that back in. I'll pick out another piece here. And we will cut this. This one's still a little bit raw here on the side, but it's okay. So cut these up and put them back in the pot, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so we have all of our almost cooked. It doesn't have to be totally cooked chicken in here. I dumped in about a half a cup of broth or whatever liquid you're going to use to cook, and you're going to scrape all the insides, like that stuff that's cooked on there. You want to scrape it so there's nothing stuck on there, nothing brown, no little bits of food stuck on there. So you're just going to take your flat scraper and you're going to scrape to get all of the brown stuff that's stuck on, so you have a nice smooth bottom, or else you'll get a burn notice. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then when that's done, we're going to start following our recipe. Which, again, in case I forget to mention this later, I'm doubling this recipe, kind of. I'll put my recipe, the regular version and the double version, in the comments below. So we're going to dump in all of the chicken broth, because doubling it calls for 4 cups. So we're going to dump this all in. I'm just using the box kind tonight. Sometimes I make my own. We're going to dump this in. It's still in saute. You can turn it off now if you like. Make sure you have all your ingredients here. This is how easy the soup is going to be to make. And again, if you were using fresh chicken at the beginning instead of frozen, you could have just cut it into pieces to begin with and sauteed it for a little bit. It would take just a couple minutes to get that done. Alright, I'm going to gather up the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to turn my saute. I'm just going to click cancel. You might have like a stop or something button just to turn it off. It should say off or something on your screen. They're not all the same. Alright, so there's my broth and my chicken. I'm going to grab all the rest of the stuff that we need, and we're going to show you how easy to dump this all in. Okay, so here's the ingredients that we need. I'm doubling it again. So we're going to need 2 packs of potato gnocchi. Mine are about 17.6 ounces. I got these at Walmart. The local store in town here, Southern Tier Provisions, has like 16-ounce packages of it. Again, I'm doubling it. You're going to need, if you're not doubling it, you just need one, alright? You're going to need a little bit of salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. I just dump it in, I don't measure that. You're going to need, if you're not doubling it, 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. I have 2 different brands here. I'm putting 3 in because I'm doubling it, and I accidentally goofed up and opened up a cream of celery, but we're going to use it because I opened it, so nobody will know. And then you're going to need carrots, matchstick carrots, which are the best things ever. You'll need half a bag if you're not doubling it, and a whole bag if you're doubling it. And you'll need some frozen spinach. This is, I have it opened. Mine's just chopped spinach, I don't know, whatever you can get frozen. You're not going to use the whole bag, you're just going to use part of it. Alright, so now all we're going to do is dump this in here. Okay, so I dumped the gnocchis in, and you want to make sure they're all covered with water. We don't want to stir. We're just dumping these in little by little. You can tap down a little bit to make sure they're all covered with water. Mine are. If by chance yours aren't, just dump enough water or liquid in there. Broth, sorry, I have broth in here, not water, but dump enough liquid in there to make sure they're all covered. But I think mine are good enough. Alright, next up, we are going to add the cream of chicken soup on top. So I'm just going to put the camera down a second and add the cream of chicken soup. Alright, so we dumped the cream of chicken soup and my oopsie can of cream of celery soup on top. You really just want the cream of chicken. Then we're going to dump a little bit of salt. And I just dumped, the recipe calls a little bit of pepper. And, oops, a little bit of Italian seasoning. We're going to dump that in there. And I should mention, I'm doubling this. I'm using an 8-quart. You might not be able to double it if you have a 6-quart. You want to pay attention to those numbers there on the side. The half line is for if you have pasta or rice. The 2/3 line is for everything else. You can't go above those lines. So if you have an 8-quart, you can double it. If you have a 6-quart, you probably might not be able to double this. Alright, so then on top of that, we're just going to dump our carrots. So I dumped my shredded carrots on top, matchstick carrots. And then our last thing to do is to dump the spinach. And I just kind of dump until I think I have enough. Oops, that's a big frozen blob there. Then you can add as much or as little as you want. I'm going to go with, I usually do about half the bag, and the bag is 12 ounces, so that's for my double of the recipe. Okay, that's it. So we had the chicken and the broth. We added the gnocchi. We made sure it was covered with water. There we go. It's in focus now. We added the cream of chicken soup, the salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, the carrots, and the spinach. And we're just going to take our lid now. We're going to put it on so it sings to us. You're going to make sure your vent is at sealing, not venting. Make sure it's at sealing and not venting. And then you're going to hit either your pressure cook button or manual. Depending on your model, it'll say manual. Mine says pressure cook. This is my E-Quart Duo. My Lux says manual on it. So you're going to hit the manual, leave it at normal, leave it at high pressure, and we're going to put it down to 3 minutes. And then in a couple seconds, it'll beep. And it's going to say on. Now it's going to take a couple minutes to come up the pressure. And then when it's done, you're going to just wait 5 minutes for it to naturally release before we turn the knob to venting. So we'll be back when this is pressurized. Okay, when it gets to pressure, it will put the number on there, and then it will count down to 0. Okay, when it's done cooking, it'll beep. And it'll turn to L and 000, and then now it's going to count up, so you know how long it's been in there when it's done. The keep warm automatically stays on. You can turn it off, but I'm just going to leave it on. I usually don't turn it off unless it tells you to in the recipe. So anyway, we're going to leave this count. We're going to leave this count down to 5, so count up to 5, I should say, and then we're going to quick release the rest of the pressure. Okay, we've counted up to 5 minutes now. So what we're going to do is we're going to release the rest of the steam, because see, my steam valve is still up. So we're going to release the steam. I have this thingy here that I put on mine. This does not fit on my Lux model. It only fits on my Duo here. Before you go and run and get one from Amazon, they're really cheap, but it might not fit on yours. So if you want to get the steam release I don't know, it's just silicone. It's like a tube thingy. You want to make sure it fits your model. So I'm just going to put this on here, and we're going to release the rest of the steam. There won't be too much in because we let it naturally release for 5 minutes. Okay, so this is still fizzling out here, a little bit of steam. When this button drops is when we know we can turn the lid and take the lid off. It takes a little bit of time, but we'll get there. Like my, the only thing I don't like about my Lux, my 6-quart Lux, this knob doesn't come up as high. See, there we go, it just dropped. So I usually just take this off, and we're gonna twist our pot here. And inside is our yummy chicken and gnocchi soup. We just have to add one more thing, which I forgot to tell you earlier. We do need cream, heavy cream. No stirring, no fuss, no nothing except at the end here. So you can stir it a while if you want, but I'm just going to dump, again, I doubled mine, so it's going to take 2 cups of cream. If you didn't double, it'll just be 1 cup of cream. So I'm just going to dump that in there, and we're going to stir with a spoon and stir all that yummy goodness into our chicken and gnocchi soup, and it tastes just like Olive Garden's, I mean, but better because it's homemade. It's just really good. So we're just gonna stir it, let that cream like thicken it up a little bit and add its yummy flavor to it. So there's what it looks like with everything in it.